And what is up, guys? Andrew from the Den here, and core playlists have not seen a major update to them in the longest time. It seems like Bungie is putting them off to the side and focusing on other features of the game. There are many reasons why they are not focusing on them, in my opinion, but the main one has to be because they are free to play and Bungie will focus on the content that is behind a paywall. The fact is that people have wanted to see new Crucible and Gambit maps come into the game, and there has not been a new one in over a year. Not only that, we have only gotten one strike with the launch of Beyond Light. This is a worst case scenario, and one that fans of Destiny couldn't even fathom back in Forsaken. Bungie is not throwing out the same levels of content, and there are many reasons for it. A pandemic happened, they're also trying to make a whole new IP, and Activision is no longer in their corner. It could not have gotten much worse for Bungie, but what can they do to show the fans that they are dedicated to making great content for Destiny? A good start would be an update for the core activities, and that is exactly what I wanted to discuss in today's video. Don't forget to drop a comment letting me know your thoughts on what they could do to fix Destiny, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. First on our list is the Crucible. So what can Bungie do to liven up the PvP experience of Destiny? Well, first thing they can do is pretty obvious, with more maps and more modes to diversify the Crucible. This can never be a bad thing to have more Destiny. Modes like Rift and Salvage were fun to play in Destiny, and I am surprised they have not reintroduced them into the sequel. Not only will it keep the fans playing, but adding in new game modes over time will keep it enjoyable as well. How hard is it to transport maps from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2 instead of giving us nothing? I'm not saying that it would be a good idea for them to do this, but I would much rather have something than nothing. Maps like Asylum and Frontier were very fun to play on, and would be very fun to see how it plays in Destiny 2. It wouldn't even be that hard to port maps over, even seeing new ones every once in a while would be beneficial. If you haven't seen our video on ideal raids, then you might want to check it out because we are getting into topics that we discussed in that video. So make sure to give it a look. Alright, so we talked about previously, I would want to see some sort of substantial content to be dropped that is added to each season. I gave an example for this year seeing a new Pinnacle experience alongside the seasonal activity for Season 13, but in Season 14, I would want to see a major update to the Crucible playlist or Gambit. Adding 2 maps to the game in that season would be a start, but I would also want a revitalization of the gear for that playlist as well. Adding at least 5 new weapons that have a new sunsetting cap would be great so all of the gear isn't sunset at the same time. It would give new gear to grind and try out, but also maybe even a great new weapon to use. I do realize that tokens are being stripped away from Shaxx and he will now offer up ranks like in Destiny 1. I welcome this addition to the game and want to see it done for the Vanguard as well. Tokens are pointless for endgame and are absolutely garbage, so I'm looking forward to how ranks will work in Destiny 2. Moving on though, I would also want competitive to mean something again. When they stripped Not Forgotten from the game, they didn't add any new weapon to replace it at the 5500 mark, and this seems like a missed opportunity. Not only that, I would want to see an update to how competitive is played. Survival is fine as a game mode, but it just feels like something is missing there, whether that be another competitive mode like Survival or change to the mode itself. I think they should definitely consider switching it up on competitive because it is declining fast. Alright, finally for Crucible we have trials and there's plenty of stuff wrong with the supposed endgame for PvP. First off, the adept weapons don't feel different at all, with only if you had the mod for that weapon then it becomes viable. I really don't understand the logic with not just giving an extra perk for adept weapons that would be beneficial in the trials. It was there in Destiny 1 and was laid out perfectly for them, and they should definitely consider switching that up. They should either get rid of the token system or give ranks like what they're doing for Shaxx, because it's just pointless to spend them if you already have the god rolls, and especially since they go away at the end of the week. The maps they put in should not have out-of-map glitches and really make the experience of trials worse. Bungie has to make sure the maps work before they are put into a game mode like Trials because they will be exploited. In the state Crucible is in now, it needs a lot of work, and there's only a couple of things they should do to improve the experience of the game mode. Next on our list is Gambit, and this has definitely been forgotten by the community and by Bungie. It's a shame that it went from a game mode that has a lot of potential when it released to how it is now. There is no type of competitive mode for Gambit, and this seems like a big missed opportunity. It would be very similar to how it works in the Crucible, with how if you lost, then you would lose points, and if you won, you would gain points. It could also be 5,500, and they could add a weapon that you could get when you hit that mark. This weapon might even get a special perk that would work in Gambit and become a weapon every player who enjoys Gambit would want. I would want it to be changed a little bit, either by going back to the 3 rounds or in some other way gameplay wise to give it a different feel than the casual playlist. Same way that I want an update to gear for Crucible, they should do this for Gambit as well. An addition of 5 weapons would give us fans something to strive for and to play with. I think that Gambit is a pretty balanced mode, except for the fact that a 4-man team will steamroll a team full of solos. If they could add a freelance experience to the game mode, then more solo players will enjoy it and eventually return to it as well. Quality of life changes such as this is not a bad idea for Bungie to do, and will not take a lot of time for them to do. With all the maps being about the same for Gambit, a new map will only spread out the diversity of how it looks and not really much more than that. It doesn't mean that I don't want to see it, I would just rather see them use those resources on creating a Strike or new Crucible map if they could only choose one. More content is always a welcome one, even if it is Gambit, because then it shows the fan base that they are not giving up on it just yet. I don't think that they should leave Gambit in the state it is now, and they should definitely give it some type of change. Finally on our list, we have the Strike playlist, and in my opinion, this is the most obvious route to people enjoying the game more. There is a certain mechanic from Destiny 1 that Bungie refuses to add to the game for some reason, and it will increase player activity in the Strike playlist exponentially. Strike-specific loot was added for Year 1 and Year 2 of Destiny 2, but Bungie started to slowly walk themselves back from having to make it in Year 3, and now it doesn't even exist at all. People will no doubt enjoy them adding this back into the game, and should have been implemented a long time ago. All it takes is create a weapon for each of the strikes and have it as a random drop at the end of that strike. It would be very simple to do, and everyone wants to see it return. In Season 13, they are adding Grandmaster loot with weapons like the Palindrome making its return from Destiny 1, so at least they are doing something with this concept and giving us something to strive for. If they wanted to, the Grandmaster Pinnacles should have an extra perk that benefits in Nightfalls and still implement a version of these weapons into normal strikes. This way, there is still a reason to play for the hardcore PvE players, and casual players could still get these weapons. I'm surprised that a weapon like Grasp of Malak was not added into the game, with Omnigul returning, and Bungie definitely missed a good opportunity for this. They are also missing a great opportunity to add very interesting modifiers back in from Destiny 1. Most of the time, I don't even bother looking at all of the modifiers except for the Singe. I remember back in the day, it would be hilarious to fight a boss when Solar Burn was active when you had a weapon like Gjallarhorn, and you were just not getting the same feeling anymore. Bringing in new modifiers will lead into Bungie going further into this and hopefully bring back the fun factor of these strikes. At the end of the day, adding one strike every year is basically putting a bandage on an open head wound, because there is so much more that they could do to improve the overall experience. Adding in features like strike-specific loot and new modifiers will bring longevity to playing strikes while giving the community something to strive to get and fun alterations to it to keep it interesting. I would hope they are taking a look at strikes, because they are just not the same to play anymore. Core activities in general need an update so the game doesn't die out from the lack of content. Whether that be surface content with adding new maps or something that will help in the long run like new loot, either way they should definitely focus on it in the coming seasons. Ranks for Crucible is only the beginning. Hopefully Zavala gets the same rework, and this could be taken to different areas of the game. I'm looking forward to what they are going to show off, and am interested in the future of Destiny. But that is all for me now, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment any future videos you guys want to see, and I'll see you all next time.